Hello and welcome to my hack shack located right here in Los Angeles. My name is Johnny and I support horror. It's been a minute since I've seen a horror movie released by a major motion picture company, so I was excited to see that Universal Pictures, along with Blumhouse Productions, released You Should Have Left, that's on demand everywhere. I love independent horror movies that I find on Prime and Hulu and Shudder. Those are the best. But there's just something about when a major motion picture studio releases one like Universal that makes it sort of an event. So let's talk about if Blumhouse gave us another hit or left us scratching our heads, shall we? You Should Have Left is a horror mystery feature film written and directed by David Koepp, based on a book from 2017 with the same name, written by Daniel Kellman. This movie stars Kevin Bacon, Amanda Seyfried, and Amy Essex. The storyline goes something like this. Theo, a rich man with a shady and mysterious past, is married to Susanna, who is an actress that is 25 to 30 years younger than he is. We'll get into that later, but they also have a cute little daughter named Ella. Theo is struggling mentally and trying to deal with a horrible past event by meditating and writing down thoughts and feelings into his journal. All he wants is a nice quiet getaway with his family where he can focus on mental healing and be far away from civilization. Theo and Susanna decide to rent out a remote, modern-looking vacation home in the Welsh countryside. But this relaxing retreat turns into a living nightmare. Theo literally starts having realistic nightmares and witnessing strange events that could eventually tear his family apart. Now, on paper, this looked like it had potential. Great cast. We got Kevin Bacon, absolute legend. Amanda Seyfried, awesome, versatile actress. And this movie is directed, more importantly, written by David Koepp. Let me rattle off some movies that were written by David Koepp so you know how much of a powerhouse he is. Jurassic Park, Carlito's Way, Stir of Echoes, Panic Room, Mission Impossible, War of the Worlds, and on and on and on. A hit machine, yeah? Someone that knows a lot about storytelling, an expert. Fair enough. Well, where was the storytelling in this? I mean, it's not in this movie. Okay, before I get too negative about this and, tell you about why this movie just didn't work, let's talk about what I liked about it, because you know what? I can always find positives. Let's start with the house. Perfect house. It's a great house for a horror movie. The old Victorian wooden creaky houses seem to be the best recipe for a horror house. Gotta make sure I'm saying that right. I guess they could make good whorehouses too. I wouldn't know. But this modern remote home in the countryside is a great specimen. It has long, narrow brick hallways that almost feel institutional, not very homey. So when the family starts exploring the home, something feels a bit off immediately. There was nothing in that house that you could call cozy. Also, it was a labyrinth. You have these confusing hallways that seem to go on forever, multiple doors that lead into these strange rooms. You would need a GPS to navigate this place. That confusion and feeling of being lost, that really complemented the spookiness of the house too. It's as if it was alive and gonna swallow you up. I also appreciated that they threw in a nice metaphor of reflections and shadows. I noticed many times when the camera would focus on Theo's shadow when he was walking, but also his reflection if he'd be standing in front of a window or a mirror. That signifying Theo struggling to let go of his past, because shadows follow you wherever you go, shadow being the dark secret that he's holding on to. Can't let it go. Gotcha. Now let's get into why this movie just didn't work. For one, with the exception of the cute little girl Ella, I didn't give a shit about these characters. They weren't likable, and since their relationship was strained since the beginning, I didn't really care if they worked it out or not. Ooh, and let's talk controversy, because I'm seeing a lot of hate online about the age difference between Amanda Seyfried and Kevin Bacon. Like I said, Theo is about 25 to 30 years older than Susanna in the movie. Kevin Bacon talked to Entertainment Weekly about how he and the director used this big age gap difference to use a conflict or strain in the relationship. Kevin says, one of the things that we really wanted to lean into was this kind of digital generational gap. where he just doesn't get being on the phone all the time and she does. I also think that it speaks to the doubts that this man is having about not being in his sexual prime, about whether or not he still has any kind of relevance. I mean, I guess that conflict of their relationship should really be taking a backseat to the major conflict that they have staring right in front of them, and that's that evil house. And sadly, I just thought the story was just as bland as the characters. I'm sorry. I feel like Blumhouse is widely known for their jump scares and their tension, especially in the Conjuring universe films. I didn't feel much tension in this movie at all, and it did lack a lot of scares. There were some eerie moments, but everything just seemed to be going through typical motions with predictable outcomes. I do believe that they were trying to do something different here, not do the typical Blumhouse project. You Should Have Left tried to be one of those slow burn indie revival films that we've been seeing a lot lately. Movies like The Lodge or Hereditary, both in my opinion, are incredibly effective at making your skin crawl. And both films unearthing that gritty, bleak evil, whether it be supernatural or human. Instead, this movie was Theo getting lost in the labyrinth of the home with his daughter, minimal scares, and an unsatisfying ending. I mean, this movie could have been so cool. There's a room in this house that's bigger on the inside than on the outside. When Theo discovered the room and started measuring it and was very perplexed about it, I was like, okay, here we go. We're gonna start exploring this sinister room. It's gonna be awesome. This movie's about to blow up. Nope. After the realization of that strange room, around the midpoint of the film, it was just another 35-40 minutes of Theo getting lost, some sort of time warp thing going on, and Theo coming face to face with his dark secret. But since I didn't really like Theo in the first place, I wasn't moved. I need to be moved, y'all. So my advice to you is watch at your own risk, horror fam. I'll never say skip a movie. Don't watch it, because I want you to decide for yourself. But may I suggest waiting until the price point goes down? Because right now I think it's $20. It's a new release. You know, it's not in theaters. COVID, all that. Maybe wait and rent it for when it's like $5. And with that, I will let you go. Thanks again, guys, for coming by my channel, watching this video. I appreciate all of you. If you haven't hit that subscribe button yet, I hope you do so now, and give this video a thumbs up. And let's be friends to the end, people. You know you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at The Horror Hack. Once again, my name is Johnny. Keep supporting horror, and this has been one hack of a show.